everybody, and welcome to the Latin America show. My name is Enrique Gelista, and I'm very happy to be here tonight with all of you. And of course, well, we have a fantastic show tonight. We have an amazing guest, and well, if you have seen our promo, maybe you know who we have and what are we going to talk about it. But well, don't worry about it. We will tell you. But well, of course, following, we have some different things that we would like to ask you. And first one is if you can share this video and follow us in all our social networks. You can follow us on YouTube. Well, we can find us very easy as the Latin America Show. And also, well, you can follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So, well, it's very easy. Just put the Latin America Show. My name is Enrique Gelista, and I'm very happy to be here tonight with all of you because, well, we have prepared an amazing show for you. So, well, please, if you know people that they are interested in Latin America or they would like to know more about Latinos or a particular country, a particular tradition, let us know, please. Give us your commentaries, I think so, over there, yeah, on Facebook, or send us a message in order that, well, that we can know exactly what do you want to know more about us. And of course, we will be very happy to share with you many things that we have prepared for all of you. And first of all, well, I would like to say thank you very much to our friend Yvonne Velasquez. She has supported us a lot with different things about this program. So thank you very much. She's a fantastic translator. If you need some document to be translated from Spanish to English, please look for her. She's an amazing girl. So, well, please, Yvonne, thank you very much for all your support for this show. And thank you very much for all the people that are supporting us. And please share this video with all the people that maybe they are interested in Latin America. So, well, also, if you know some friends that maybe they are interested in Latin America, well, they are Latin Americans, that they have something interesting that maybe they have to share or you would like to share with us, let us know, send us your commentaries, send us any information because, well, this show is prepared for you because in this show, we are trying to show you the real Latin America. We are not trying to show you all these Hollywood stories. We are trying to give you the best of the best. So, well, that's the reason why we have prepared for you an amazing show. So today, for example, we have prepared an amazing country. If you haven't seen which one, is Colombia. So we're going to talk about Colombia. So it's not Colombia. Please don't say that because that is incorrect. Colombia could be a state in other countries, but we're going to talk about Colombia. It's very easy to remind it. Just if you start with Co with an O, the following is going to be an O. So Colombia is the proper name of this country. So, well, we're going to talk about many things. We're going to talk, for example, we have two amazing guests. The first one is Blanca Huertas, that she is an amazing curator. So she's going to tell us about what is in Colombia and what is she doing. She's working for the Natural History Museum here in London. So she's going to tell us their experience, and also she's going to tell us about the biodiversity that Colombia has. On the other side, we have a fantastic soloist ballet dancer. He is Fernando Montaño. He's an amazing dancer, and he's working in the Royal Ballet, but also he has a lot of different things to talk about that he's doing different projects in Colombia too. So, well, first, before we start the show, I would like to introduce and to present my colleagues, my friends, mis amigos, Roger Alarcón.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Hello, everyone. You didn't expect that. But I want to say hello to everyone. And hopefully you enjoy the program of today. So we have fantastic people here in the program.
Thank you very much, my dear Roger. And now I would like to introduce Vicente Salas.
Good evening, Roger. Good evening, Enrique. Whitney, hello. It's lovely to be here tonight with you. Very excited to talk about Colombia. It's a wonderful country. It has many things to offer. So very, very excited about this tonight.
Excellent, my dear Vicente. And well, of course, with a terrible jet lag, but she's in the show because, well, she now is in the United States. So, well, we have the amazing Spanish teacher. She is Whitney Nuchenero.
Hey, everyone. I'm very excited to teach you a little Spanish later on and for you to learn a little bit more about the wonderful country of Colombia and its rich culture and diversity.
Excellent, my dear Whitney. So, well, first of all, as I said before, we are going to talk about this fantastic country that is Colombia. And, well, one of the main things that we have to say is that, well, Colombia, maybe you know it because bachata and cumbia colombiana, but Colombia is more than that. So, well, let's start with where is Colombia located? Well, this is the geography. This is the Americas. Sorry, this side is the Americas. And, well, as you know, the continent is America. We know that there is a particular country that is United States, but all the continent is America, from Canada till Argentina and Chile, and we have spoken about that in the previous show. However, Colombia is located here. So Colombia is the only country located in South America who is sharing two oceans. It's in the Caribbean side. One side is the Caribbean, and the other one is the Ocean Pacific. As you can see, also the Ecuador is crossing Colombia. However, the weather is not all the time this tropical weather. It depends the altitude, so they have different weathers. They could have a range between 9 degrees till 40 degrees, and the humidity could be different because Colombia has many cities in different altitudes. So of course they could be sometimes a little bit cooler, sometimes it could be a little bit warmer because some of them they are in valleys, some of them they are in high altitude. So well, we're going to discover more about that. Also, Colombia has 5 countries that they have borders with. So it's Ecuador, Peru, Brazil, Venezuela, and Panama. So moving forward about Colombia, so some factuals that we have. So Colombia, the official name is Republic of Colombia. Colombia has a population around 50 million people. It's a big country. So they split the country in 32 departments. As here in the UK, we split it in countries. Some other countries, they split it in states. Colombia decided to do it in departments. So they have 32 different departments. The official language is Spanish. And let me tell you something. If you are very good at differentiating the different kind of accents, I think that the Colombian one is very particular. So you can notice when someone is from Colombia. And regarding to this one, if you're a Spanish speaker, let me tell you something. If you meet a Colombian guy, you will identify very easy, and they have a quite sexy accent. But well, never mind. So well, Colombia, the capital is Bogota, and maybe you have listened about some cities that they have there, like Bogota, Medellin, and Cali. It's a big city, Bogota, because they have also like around 8 million people. Big city. So it's roughly the same population that we have here in London. So of course it's a big city. And that is because sometimes, and I'm just saying this one, because sometimes people, they believe that in Latin America, there are only small towns or small cities. However, that is incorrect. 8 million people is a lot of people. It's the third populous Spanish-speaking country in the world. And you will now believe it. Well, the first one is Mexico. The second one, believe it or not, about the Spanish-speaking countries is United States. The third one is Colombia, so it's a big city. The independence from Spain started the 20th of July in 1810, and they consummated the 7th of August in 1819. However, as many countries, they celebrate when they start this war of independence. So they are going to celebrate this year in a couple of weeks more. They are going to celebrate 210 years of independence. So that's fantastic. And of course, we're going to have something prepared for you, especially for that show. So we're going to celebrate with Colombia their Independence Day. So, well, please be in touch with us. Another fact was the currency that they use is the Colombian peso. The area is around 1.1 million square kilometers. That is roughly around 440 square miles. That is a big country. So just that you have an idea about how big is Colombia, it's almost 4.7 times the United Kingdom size. Even in the map, you can see that it looks like tiny. It's not tiny. It's a very big country. And also, it's the first producer of emeralds in the world. That's amazing. So you will find in Colombia a lot of mines that they are producing emeralds. And also, maybe you have heard about Netherlands, that they are a big producer of flowers around the world. Well, Colombia is the second one. And I'm pretty sure that if you are in the United States and you're in the Valentine's Day, maybe you're going to buy a rose for your girlfriend or for your boyfriend, whoever. So, well, maybe that rose is coming from Colombia because it's the second producer. And maybe during the breakfast that you have today, maybe you taste the flavor of Colombia because Colombia is the third producer of coffee in the world. The first one is Brazil, the second one is Vietnam, and the third one is Colombia. If you haven't tasted this amazing coffee that they have, you should do it. So go to any of the shops that you have near, and I'm pretty sure that you will find it. Also, how big and how amazing is this country that I'm pretty sure that you will add it in your list for the next country that you have to visit. Colombia, it has the 10% of all the species of Earth live there. So it has a massive variety of fauna and flora that you can find there. So don't miss it and put it after the lockdown as one of the places that you have to go there and to visit. Colombia also is the country with more endemic species of butterflies in the world. So that's amazing. And that's the reason why we have a fantastic guest tonight that, well, she's going to tell us about this kind of ecosystem that you can find in Colombia. So, well, this is just a quick fact about Colombia. And let's go with my friend Vicente because I think so he has our first guest.
Thank you, Enrique.
Vicente,
That was a
Enrique?
great introduction. Yeah, as I said, we're very excited about Colombia. We have tonight with us, we have Blanca Huertas, who's a senior curator at the National History Museum, and she specializes in butterflies. Blanca was born in Bogota, as Enrique was mentioning, Colombia's capital city, and where she fell in love with nature, and she fell in love with particularly butterflies. And later on, she came over to do a PhD in London. And since 2005, Blanca has been working as senior curator on the Natural History Museum. So, Blanca, it's an honor, as we mentioned earlier, it's an honor to have you with us tonight. It's an honor to have someone from Latin America in such an institution. And well, welcome.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Hi, Vicente. Thank you very much for your invitation. It's lovely to hear so good things about Colombia and somehow let people know how beautiful is the country.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. So we wanted to know a little bit more about you, about how you fell in love with nature, about what brought you to start working in the UK, or your PhD, and then uh, within the institution that is the Natural History Museum, which, as we mentioned earlier, there are very few institutions that can be as British as the Natural History Museum.
Oh yes, indeed.
So
Yeah, no, I've been in the United Kingdom for about 15 years, over 15 years now.
wow. It's pretty impressive. And how did you start? What brought you to work with butterflies, and what brought you to work here as well?
Yeah, well, I started very young. It's impossible not to look into fauna in one of the most mega diverse countries in the world, like Colombia. So I got fascinated by plants at the beginning and also beetles. I love beetles also. But butterflies was the passion I developed more when I was in university. Then I got involved in a huge project with British people, with British students from University of Cambridge. They went to Colombia, make a big call, brought students like me. I was in university those days in Bogota. Yeah, so I get involved with lots of projects with the United Kingdom, and I'm still involved on the other way because in those days I was a Colombian with the United Kingdom, but now I'm more on this side with with Colombia. So that's how I come in here. I came to do my initially a master's in Imperial College, then a PhD in University College of London. But now I'm been with the museum for the same period of time. I'm been in the United Kingdom.
Wow, it's impressive. And how does the world take? How does someone in the Natural History Museum take, start curating uh, all the butterflies, and especially how do you feel doing this in the UK when you have all of that diversity in Colombia as well? How does that compare? Taking the entire world, but of course a lot of it comes from Latin America.
I know somehow it's a bit strange. That's a really good question because Colombia is actually the country with with more butterflies in the whole world. We are always competing with Peru, but in terms of diversity in the museum, in the Natural History Museum, we got butterflies from all over the world. So it's a big job, but still we still have very few from Colombia. But I try, as I say, I try to get connected with Colombia and whatever I'm doing here just to help a little bit with the gaps we have in Colombia, despite being the country with more butterflies. We don't have a whole comprehensive book having all of the fauna of the country. So it's still a lot to do, and is my idea is just more to get more people engaged with butterflies. So we need more people helping, basically.
Oh yes, and it's not only the beautiful butterflies that we see, the colorful butterflies that we see, but of course the world involves moths as well, doesn't it?
Yes, but I'm lucky I'm not in charge of the moths because the moths in the collection are another 5 million. I'm only have 5 million butterflies, so that's
Oh,
enough.
only 5 million butterflies that you're in charge of. And
Yeah,
how big is the team
that's a
that
lot.
works with you on this?
We got a team of another four curators. So we got five guys, another four guys, and me, and I'm the only Latina on the Lepidoptera. So we got 10 million specimens, as I said. So, but we have a team of volunteers and people from all over the world come to help usually.
Wow, it's wonderful to see that we have a Latina working in this world that we were mentioning earlier. That science for a long time has been a man's world, and of course, science in the UK has mostly been about British male scientists in the UK, and now we have a female Latina working as senior curator in the British Museum. Has it been challenging at all, or how have you made the progress of joining the team and being part of
Always.
the team and leading the team?
Yeah, it's always, and it get a little bit more complicated when you decide to go by the motherhood route. I'm also a mother. I got a kid, so that makes things a little bit more complicated because the academic world is quite tough. So it's a lot of big guys and lots of white people and British people. So still the Latin is still innovation. So I always keep it as positive because we are somehow, yeah, we're different, but I try to show we as we are different, we can bring new things always. So yeah, so it's still in the academia. It's still not many women as we wish. Unfortunately, on the senior positions, those equality that we have at the moment in the academia, with probably half and half males and females going to university, when you go to senior positions, that decreases dramatically. So there's still, let alone minorities like us, the Latin American people. We still have a few Latin American people working in the museum, but not compared with the amount of people that is actually working as a whole in the museum.
Of course. Well, it's you're setting the example and you're setting the bar, and I'm sure your fellow Colombians are very proud of what you've achieved so far, and there are many more things that you can achieve in the near future. One of the things that I wanted to talk about also was, what do you think of the world? A lot of people have said that this world that we're living in now and this situation that we're living now in terms of COVID and people staying indoors and people not traveling as much is helping the environment and helping nature. What do you say about that?
Well, probably that's probably true here on the developed countries when there is a quite organized infrastructure of supporting people when there is no manners to go to the nature. Yeah, so people stop traveling, and that's it. Nature benefits from that. But in our countries, in Latin America specifically, or even in Asia, the situation is very different because they don't have the full support, or we don't have the monetary power to support everybody. So people is starting to go to the forest, actually going more to the forest, trying to bring things out of the forests that they were earning before through, for example, ecotourism. So people is basically there is no other means to survive. So the impact in the forest, if you have seen the deforestation rates in Latin America has increased dramatically since the COVID, and the lack of people actually looking after the forests in any of their countries, in Colombia particularly.
Yes, yeah, I've been watching a bit of that because, of course, there's a lot of people, normally guards that go and look after the forest and go look after the woods. They haven't been able to go to work. So as you said, more people are going in there and doing whatever they want to do, not necessarily looking after the environment. So we need to make people learn and understand. And of course, as people start to travel a bit more, they will bring more money into the local economies, especially the Latin American economies, which will then help preserve nature a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. People who actually love conservation of the forest, of the species in danger, and so on. The probably the true way to support is actually traveling to the country, benefiting the economy through bioeconomy or ecotourism, and people won't destroy the forest because it's a precious resource to bring money into the country. So that's quite important. Get the support of all of the communities in Europe and all of the developed countries.
Absolutely. In terms of going to Colombia and just to close, I just want to know what do you like more about your country and what do you think uh, if that I mean I know that's a very difficult question because you may like everything, but what would you like to tell people about Colombia and what would you like people to keep in their minds about your country?
For me, it's like the museum where I work. Is I make a comparison because in the collections of butterflies where I work, you can find a bit of everywhere from the world in one place. Colombia is exactly the same. Colombia is the place with mountains, with snow mountains, with deserts, with oceans, with beach, with lovely landscapes, the Amazon. So we go there all in one country. So that's what I usually tell people, and that is not only reflected on the habitats that you can travel, but also the beautiful and amazing biodiversity you can see in the country. You can see amazing birds. Remember, Colombia is the country with more birds in the world, with more butterflies in the world, with more frogs in the world, orchids, lots of diversity. So you never get bored. Colombia is the place to go if you want to not only travel but also study. It's an endless resource of resources for everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, Colombia is an amazing country with its diversity in general. It has amazing cities, but of course, nature-wise, it's it can only be compared with a few other countries in the world in terms of its biodiversity. As you said, it's one of the very few countries that can be named mega diverse in terms of the diversity. So, Blanca, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's an honor to have a Latino, to have a woman leading a such an important piece of the Natural History Museum as it is what you're doing now and curating there. So thank you for being here with us tonight.
That's super kind of you, and thank you for inviting me. And it's a wonderful program you're doing, trying to let the world about Latin America, the positive side of Latin America. Thanks.
No, thank you very much. And Enrique, back to you.
Thank you very much, my dear Vicente. And of course, well, we have a lot of things to talk about, like Colombia in particular. Well, I just want to make one clarification. I don't know if because of the motion and everything, I say bachata instead of say cumbia colombiana and salsa. So, well, it's like two things that I just want to say. And the other one is like, well, I know that the diversity that they have, of course, if we are talking about butterflies, and also I would like to invite you to go to the Natural History Museum here in London to show that kind of diversity that they have, and also Colombia. It has a lot of things that they can provide, well, that they can show to the world about it. So, well, following to the program, we have another guest that, well, is an amazing one, and I think so. Ray Alarcon, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about him.
Of course, we have the honor, one of the most famous Colombian. He's a ballet dancer, a soloist ballet dancer in the Royal Ballet in the UK at the Opera House in Covent Garden. He joined in 2006. Fernando has performed in many countries around the world. He works regularly with them, Vivienne Westwood. He participated in Dancing with the Stars in Colombia, and also is the patron of Children Change Colombia charity, also the patron of Amy Winehouse Foundation, and also ambassador of the Marine Conservation. This amazing video is being done for Andre Uspensky, and welcome to Fernando Montaño. Fernando, your microphone.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you. Welcome to the Latin America show, Fernando.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here with you, and I'm so delighted to be sharing this time.
Well, it's an honor for us having you here because you are such a great person. You're very famous in Colombia. So tell us, Fernando, I know you have a wonderful history when you start. Just tell us how these dreams start. How was your roots? How was the way to get in to be a soloist on the Royal Ballet?
Well, I think I was a tiny little boy in Buenaventura, where I first saw it on TV. Like this, my first connection with the ballet, it was when I saw it on TV in this TV show for kids, and I think that that was like planted the seed on my heart that later on I was able to develop it and become a professional ballet dancer. But of course, like it's been a very hard way to achieve where I am today, because I'm coming from a very humble background, and my family have to do a lot of sacrifices for me to go to Cuba, even though I won a scholarship in a competition. But nevertheless, like I knew that my family were doing a lot of sacrifices for me to be there. And then, of course, After Cuba, I came to Italy. That I got another scholarship to go to Italy, and then finally I was offered a place at the Royal Opera House with the Royal Ballet. Yeah, it's been kind of like this. It's been very simplified, my story. Of course, there's been so many great moments, funny things, difficult things as well, of course. Like, for instance, I can remember when I was a kid, when I was 14 years old, I was still so young when I left Colombia. So going to Cuba, which is Latin America, but still is not Colombia, it's not the same way that I was accustomed to live. So it was a challenge at times, but very I'm very pleased that somehow my life and took me that way, and not maybe to other things that I probably were more propense to do.
Well, you mentioned that specific moment when you won the scholarship when you was 14 years old. That was the base of all, the entire career.
Yeah,
But also, it was another moment when you have your audition for the Royal Ballet in Italy.
of
Tell us a
course.
little bit about that.
Yes, well, my audition at the Royal Ballet was very dramatic because, um, well, I had prepared like a little CD music, but somehow, when I was at the audition, like the machine didn't read the CD. So I have to do my full audition without any music. And of course, dance, particularly, I think, having the music, it adds like the beauty of the art form itself. So at not having the music, I really have to overcome all the, shine probably more than if I have the music, and be more synchronized with my partner, Venus, in order of not, losing the timing of the rhythm. And then of course I didn't speak English. So that was the other issue, that, it was hard to communicate what it was happening, that the city wasn't working, and that so I was just communicating by sign language.
Well, this is amazing because obviously your performance was stunning, and then you become part of the Royal Ballet. You've been dancing for the Queen, and obviously people see the results, but not the process. I would love to know which are the icons, the persons where they make your formation.
Well, of course, I have had several teachers. So most of them had been Cubans, I would say. A few Colombians at the beginning. For example, Alejandra Munoz, Jairo Lastre. They were the two main teachers that I have in Colombia when I started. But then I have René de Cárdenas from Cuba, and then the teacher that taught me all those years that I was in Havana at the school, Adria Velasquez. That she teach, and I think now she's living in Mexico, if I'm not wrong. And then now in my professional life, I have also Loy Paraujo, which is one of the four jewels of the Cuban National Ballet. And also she's now the deputy director of the English National Ballet here in UK. And also Betty Anderton, and the Marchioness of Londonderry, Doreen Wells, that she used to be a principal ballerina with the Royal Ballet. And she also, when I have like a big roles coming up, I also prepare myself a little bit with her, like to have some coaching with her.
Wow, it's amazing. So many important people. And also, well, now when you are one of the most recognized persons in Colombia, you now are the patron of several charities, but one of the most important is for the kids in Colombia.
Yes, of course. But it's Children Change Colombia. It's one of the things that, well, I was a kid one day, and I was able to discover my talent at very young age, and I had to have the support of my family, of course, that it was very important, and therefore I know that somehow, if I in a position that I could give something back in return of what I have done. So So Children Change Colombia is something that is very, very dear to me. And also like the work that the charity do is incredible, because I will give you an example right now. Like, one of the issues that Colombia have is, our post-conflict, all these wars that we have suffered for several years. So it's hard to reincorporate sometimes those kids that they may have been at work and to society. So in Children Change Colombia, this is one of the key points that of the key projects that we've been doing in the last 5, 6 years, trying to reincorporate those kids that one day they were at war, and now how they can reincorporate to society, being accepted of what they are and how they can transform themselves to become a better person.
Wow, that's a wonderful job you're doing for give it back to Colombia, and all the people they should know more about this. But also, there's another fantastic thing you've done is Dance for the Sea. Tell us a little bit about that, because it's very now. Obviously, Vicente talk about this in COVID, the nature is suffering. But tell us a little bit about that.
Of course, like actually, I just became an ambassador, the new ambassador of the Marine Conservation Society in the UK. Well, Dance for the Sea, it was a very simple idea. As an artist, I always use my art form as a way of expression and maybe send a message. So it was a very small, tiny little idea that I have, that I thought I would like to do an exhibition of underwater photo shoots. And then somehow I got introduced into the Marine Conservation Society, and then the project and that small idea became like something much bigger than what I thought it will be. So basically, yes, I wanted to do this exhibition of photography to expose and also make people more conscious about the issue that the planet is having right now with all this plastic pollution that we are having in the oceans and the rivers and the seas. So, and also like, most of the planet Earth is full of water, and it's so important and vital for the human beings to be able to have it clean. And it is our duty to do something about it. So, and it's important probably start to create this um, conscience to people that we have to recycle. We have to be very careful about like the single-use plastic, which is the most damaging thing that we all could do. So yeah, that I would say that that was the beginning of Dance for the Sea. But then somehow the company Ocean Outdoors, which is the company that owns all the outside big screens in the city, we did a campaign last year actually in the Ocean Day, which is the 8th of June. So I did these photos and also a small, like 30 seconds dance video underwater, full of plastic. But also I work with schools, St. Gabriel's School, which have also a big community of Latinos here in London. So they helped me to build up all this scenery of plastic that they recycle at home. I also was recycling. My costumes were made out of plastic, recycling plastic. And and then we create this kind of like campaign that was seen all around the UK. And unfortunately, this year I couldn't do the performance show that also I did last year to raise money to support the charity.
But well, I'm sure you're gonna do it soon when all the things they can be, and I'm sure it's something very important we need to do, all of us, because we need to recycle and then we need to take care of the environment. And for last, Fernando, what do you like from Colombia? What do you tell the British, everyone here in London, in England, in the UK about Colombia?
Well, I think we Colombians, and probably as the rest of Latin Americans, we are very warm people. We always are very, welcoming anyone, and we like to share emotions. And Colombia, we had have a very tough time, but I think right now like our newest generations are like standing forward, and it have changed. The country is more safe. You can go and enjoy our beauty, because even us, we haven't been able to enjoy all these wonderful sceneries that we have. And I don't know if many people know, but we are like the second most biodiverse country in the world. So we have, in terms of nature, we have so many beautiful places that are actually literally untouched, because we actually are rediscovering all these beautiful places. And it's also very cheap for for the British people to come and visit Colombia. And you will dance, because also that's something that we all love. Everywhere you will be able to enjoy dance, our food, our people as well. Like, I think that one of the most beautiful things of Colombia is also all these exotic fruits that we have. That, because as we are the second most biodiverse country in the world, only you get this type of fruits in Colombia, some of them. So it's also something to discover for the British audience and the British people.
Wow, that's amazing. All the diversity you have in Colombia. So everyone is looking at us. Colombia is a nice place to go. Thank you very much, Fernando Montaño. I don't know if anyone wants to do a comment or a question. No, no. Well, Fernando,
Yeah.
it's an honor, very honor. We are very grateful you was in the program. Thank you very much. And we need to talk a lot more about your career. So
Thank
we
you.
hope you see you again around in the program. Thank you very much, Fernando, and see you soon.
See you soon. Have a lovely evening. Bye bye.
Thank you, Mayday Roger. So, well, this is fantastic, Fernando Montaño. And if you haven't had the opportunity to see him, well, of course, well, try to book when he is performing something. And well, he's just amazing. And of course, well, I would like to say thank you very much to all the people that they are watching us. Thank you to Yvonne, David Calvert, Leah, Abhijit. We have David Calvert, Carolina, Patricia, John. Carlos Mares, that is in Mexico, Lily Martinez in Mexico, Rafael, Hector, Lindsay, Lupe, Ana Citlali, Roger, Jimmy, Viridiana, Gavin Dancy, who's saying hello, everyone. Joe Gospel, that is hello, Penny. Yvonne Velasquez, Yvonne Velasquez also, she's sharing with us the charity that, well, you can see the link here that we have here, the Children Change Colombia. So, well, just give a click there and you can know more about this. Flor Hernandez, Jones, Rulo, Rodrigo, Carlos, Lily, well, all of you, Evelyn. So thank you very much for your commentaries. And of course, well, as we asked at the beginning, please share this video with all your non-Spanish speaking friends or not Latinos in order that, well, they can know the real Latin America and we can show you the best. And also, please give us your commentaries about the show and about what you want to see. And if we want, maybe we can bring some of the experts here. But well, moving forward to this next section of the program, and well, it's like one of the favorite sections that, well, I have noticed now. So well, let's go to the, well, now she's in the United States. Let's go with Whitney.
Thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward to teaching you a little bit more about Spanish. And to do that, we're going to do a little bit of review, because to learn a language, you need a lot of scaffolding and a lot of review while you're introducing new material. So today we're going to learn about how to say, how are you, and respond. We are going to learn about a few words that are linked with our two special guests today. And finally, heard on the street, some words and expressions that are special to Colombia. So let's begin.
Wow.
Okay. So to say how are you, there are a couple ways, but we're going to learn one of the most basic ways, which is ¿Cómo estás? All right. Now, you might, if you remember last week's segment and the week before that, you might be a little confused because you're going to see the word estás and think, well, wait, the question where you're from is de donde eres. So, surprise, there are two verbs on how to say to be in Spanish. And it's really, really fun for those of us who are learning it, because in English, there is one. But I'm going to talk about this in future segments. But to make a short, quick, I guess, explanation is ser for de donde eres is permanent. Just like your origin is permanent, regardless of whether you want it to be or not, it's permanent. It's not changing. And como estás, estar is temporary because, well, our moods are very temporary. So let's go through these expressions, and the English is on the right. Como estás? And please repeat after me. Como estás? Estoy bien. Estoy así, así. No estoy bien. You could also say, if you're doing horribly, you could say something like estoy fatal, but that's a little dramatic. And then to ask, how about you? You could say, ¿cómo estás? Or you could simply say, ¿y tú? And then another expression that we haven't seen yet is yo también. So if someone says, like, yo estoy bien, ¿y tú? You can say, yeah, sí, estoy bien, or yo también. So we're just going to go through one more time, each one. Repeat after me at home. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien. Estoy así, así. No estoy bien. ¿Y tú? Yo también. All right. One thing that I haven't talked about yet, and I wanted to with this segment, is register. So in English, we don't really have a proper register like you do in other Romance languages, including Spanish. And register is the way that you interact with people. In English, we have one word, and that's you. But in Spanish, there are multiple words, and not all of them are on here. Just the ones that are singular when you're talking, when you're saying you to one person. Okay. There are a couple others that are used for the plural. One other in Latin America, ustedes, and we'll get to that in future segments. The tú is informal. All right. When you're saying like, ¿cómo estás? That's in the tú form. ¿De dónde eres? That's in the tú form. And then you respond, I'm this, I'm that. Usted is mostly formal. It is used, however, in certain countries with more frequency, like Colombia, Costa Rica, where they use it a little bit more than tú. And then the vos. The vos is a little bit complicated. It's informal, and in some countries it replaces tú. Like most of the Cono Sur, the southern cone, which consists of Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, and Chile. So in all those countries, except Chile, they primarily use vos. And in Chile, just like in Colombia, Bolivia, and other countries, they kind of use both of them, one or the other. So those are your registers. So everything we've learned so far has been in the tú form. And because in Colombia, you're traveling for the first time and not knowing a lot of people, you might be more privy to the usted form. We're going to look at the expressions on the left that we learned last week, ¿cómo te llamas? ¿Y tú? ¿De dónde eres? And the definitions are on the right, if you've forgotten. ¿Y cómo estás? And look at the usted form and how it changes. So for the first one, instead of ¿cómo te llamas?, it's ¿cómo se llama? And that's what's your name? And then when you're saying and you, instead of saying, ¿cómo se llama? You would say, ¿y usted? And then where are you from? ¿De dónde eres? It's ¿de dónde es? And then for ¿cómo estás? Instead, it's ¿cómo está? And you can add in usted, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we're going to go over them one more time in the middle. Look at the column in the middle, please, and repeat after me. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Y usted? ¿De dónde es? ¿Cómo está? All right, we're going to practice this. It's a very similar conversation that we had last week, but in the usted form. So I'm going to be the bold, and you're going to respond. Remember, what's your name? Pleased to meet you. Pleased to meet you. All right. So say your line after mine. Hola, ¿cómo se llama? Me llamo Whitney. Encantada. ¿De dónde es? Soy de Colombia. Not really, but. Estoy bien, ¿y usted? Gracias. All right, you would say blank and gracias. Okay, so new vocab. All right, we talked about butterflies. So la mariposa is a great word. It, just like in English, it not only signifies butterfly, but it signifies hope. And next week, when we talk about the DR, we will hopefully mention the Mirabal sisters and how they were las mariposas in the Dominican Republic, a symbol of hope. So again, repeat after me, la mariposa. And then we have ballet. Now, el baile or la danza is just dance generally. So el baile or la danza clásica is for ballet. So el baile o la danza clásica. And then ballet dancer for the masculine, so for males, it's el bailarín. And for females, it would be la bailarina. El bailarín, la bailarina. Okay, this brings me to my last segment. All right, some words that are very similar. Well, some of them you might hear in other countries, but these are words that are primarily said in Colombia. One of them is very important. If you go out and you want a drink and you really want a beer, you would say una birra. All right, for a beer. Now, on the right, you'll see over here that I put in parentheses the more general word for beer, which is una cerveza. But una birra se dice mucho en Colombia. It's said a lot in Colombia. Then, this is one of my favorite words. Tacaño is stingy in Spanish. And there are a couple examples, I'm sure more. But the two more notable ones are amarrado or amarrada. If you're talking about someone who's stingy, who's feminine, you just change the O to an A. So, él es amarrado, ella es amarrada. And then del codo. And that both mean stingy. And then last week, when we talked about Ecuador, we talked about how the word, which is generally known as el amigo or la amiga for friend, is el pano or la pana. And when we talked about that, we also mentioned how it's el cuate in Mexico. But in Colombia, you could say el parcero, la parcera for female friend, or parce. And ironically enough, parce is the title of one of Colombia's most famous singers, Juanes, who is a wonderful activist singer. And if you haven't heard of him, download his albums right now. They are phenomenal. So parce is another one. And then last week we talked about how they say bacán for cool, and they do in Colombia, but typically when you're talking about a person is bacán, but an idea, something can be bacano or bacana. So very, very similar to what we saw last week on that one. And then two more, comerse el cuento. All right, for those more advanced Spanish speakers, it's to be gullible, to believe something, creer algo que generalmente es mentira, to believe something that's generally is a lie. And then que pecado. This one was, my Colombian friend said the best way to translate this is how unfortunate, like que lástima or que mala onda, que pecado. So there you go. That is it for tonight's segment of Making Spanish Simple. For more, please visit my website, YouTube channel, and or Instagram and follow me.
Thank you very much, Paisa. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very
Parcera.
much. De parcera, yeah.
Sí,
This
la
show has been
parcera.
very bacano, no?
Ha sido bacano, parcera.
Yeah, so it's amazing. And well, it's amazing the number of commentaries that we have and the people that they are watching us. Thank you very much. And of course, well, as I said before, thank you, Annalise. She's saying that, well, Fernando is an amazing dancer, Sleeping Beauty at the Royal Ballet was very special, and I recommend to see him. And well, of course, well, Rodrigo Alarcón also is saying, Panas, un abrazo. Thank you very much. And well, of course, it's like, the time flies really because, well, of course, we have to do everything very quick because, well, we have two amazing, and there are a lot of things that we can talk about Colombia. And also, as I told you before, we're going to make a deep dive about different things about Colombia, about the history, and of course, about the nature, because, well, we know that, well, as we said at the beginning, it has the most amazing endemic species of butterflies in the world. So, well, it's something that you would like to, well, I strongly recommend that, well, you can add Colombia as a destination that maybe for your next trip. So I don't know, any commentaries, Vicente? Or...
Yes, actually, yeah. Just touching on that, Enrique. Not only Colombia has the most amount of endemic butterflies in the world. But adding to you to mention or to go to Colombia as your next tourism destination, it has a lot of what you may want to do. You know, you have cities, but you also have mountains, and you have the ocean, and you have biodiversity, you have ecotourism, you have cultural tourism, you have everything that you might need on your next holiday. So please just think about it. There's a lot to do. Of course, gastronomy. We haven't even touched on Colombian gastronomy, which is phenomenal. The beverage industry, not only alcoholic but also non-alcoholic beverage industry in Colombia is wonderful. So go there. Some of One of our viewers commented, Colombia is passion, and as Latinos, we are very passionate about what we do. We're very passionate about our own countries, and there's no better example than Colombians. Everything that they do with a lot of passion, and when you go there, you'll see what we're talking about.
Exactly, and well, yeah, she was Liliana, so thank you very much, Lily, also, and of course Yolanda, Rulo, Carlitos, Rodrigo, Evelyn, Annalise, Nala, Danielle. Thank you very much for all of you, because well, it's an amazing opportunity to be with all of you, and as we said at the beginning, the main goal of this program is to show you the real Latin America, the real people, what are we doing here in the UK, all over the world, and how we are contributing not only from our country, so all the magnificent countries that we have there, and also the amazing places that you can find. It's also the fantastic people that we have all around the world, and the good things that they are doing, as Fernando and as Blanca, that we have the opportunity to share with you just a little bit about what are they doing, and also, of course, inviting you to go to the Natural History Museum or to go to the Royal Ballet to know more about the different performances that Fernando is doing. So, well, I think it could be a very good opportunity. Well, maybe you can book some time. And also, of course, if you want to learn more about it, you can Google them. It's very easy to find them. So it's Blanca Huertas, and on the other side is Fernando Montaño. That, well, of course, I know that Whitney talked before about this ñ that we have in Spanish. That, well, I know that, well, maybe you can find it also as Fernando Montano, because, well, it's quite difficult to find it in the keyboard because we don't have this in the English one. Yeah. But there's any particular quick access to get an ñ, Whitney? I don't know.
I believe it's, and I'm going to try it right now in a document, but I think it's option N on a Mac. Also, I know in a lot of text, you can just hold, option and then N on any sort of MacBook.
Yeah,
Also,
well, in Mac, you keep press the N,
or you can,
and it comes.
for any accent, also on a Mac, whether it's Google Docs or Word or Notes, you can press the letter down, and not just for the ñ, and they'll produce choices. And then obviously accents are only the ñ and the accent that goes out, like towards the right. So those are the two you'll need for Spanish.
And also, well, Yvonne is telling us that, well, it could be out and plus 164. No, so it's like very easy to find it in that way. But well, if not, it doesn't matter. You will find it, as Fernando Montano is going to appear, all the information that you must have from him, that, well, and also for this charity. And you know that, well, we are like also looking forward that, well, you can support us with all these kind of charities and everything, because we can make a big change with some of the pounds that you have, or something that you can help us. So it's very useful, and it's something that is like it's going to create a big impact there. So, well, I think it's very important that, well, if you can support us with these kind of charities.
And also, if you have here in London, well, obviously next week, some of the some things are going to be open. Just go and try some Colombian food. Or if you have a Colombian friend, go and talk to him about the country. And if you can, just go to Colombia.
Exactly, and also you can buy one kind of, as Vicente said, one aguardientico, or the aguardiente, that is very famous. Yeah. So, well, it's a typical alcohol drink that, well, you can try. That, well, also as Roger was saying, well, bandeja paisa and these kind of famous dishes that maybe you can find here in London. It's very easy. You can, I think so. Now, once the lockdown is over here in London, there are many places you can find like very good food from Colombia that, well, you should taste it. And also you can find a lot of groceries online that, well, maybe you can buy it if you want to try to do it buy your own at your place, and also maybe just make some of your friends with different kind of foods. And I know that well, here in the UK, everybody's open to learn and to know more about the different kind of flavors that we have across Latin America. So I don't know any final commentaries, Roger Alarcon.
Yes, I have a final commentary. If you get invited by a Colombian to his party, never say no, just go. And then you will see the passion of the Latin American and the Colombians.
Well, that's a very good advice, my dear Roger. So, well, of course, try to find out the passion of the Colombian people, and well, of course, and not only here in the UK, all over the world. Colombians also they have a good rhythm, they have a very good accent, as I said before, and also they are like very friendly. So, well, they are a very nice people to meet. Vicente Salas, any other additional commentary?
Just to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I particularly like this show. I think it's been a really good show. Not that we say that ourselves, of course, but the people have said that themselves. One of the things that I think I'd like to stress with our viewers is that we're doing this show out of love for Latin America, but it's not our show. It's the viewers' show, and we strongly urge and we strongly ask our viewers to tell us, as you said in comments, what would you like to know more about? What would you like to see? What would you like to talk about for us to talk about? Because somebody wrote to me just a moment ago saying, why don't you do a show on biodiversity? Or another show on just butterflies of Colombia, because it could be big. We can also talk about arepas on Colombia versus Venezuela, which is very contentious because people fight about that. We haven't done any gastronomy show, and you know, if you looked at us, you know that we like food. So we can do many of those. So yeah, and I'm not trying to say anything, but you know, we like food. So it's your show. Tell us what you want. Tell us what you want to see, and thank you for watching us.
Excellent, Vicente. Thank you very much, my dear Whitney.
Just one more thing. This isn't about food, although I agree with everything that they said. The Colombian food is really tasty. But I know that street art is really big, and I'm sure we'll have an episode where we dedicate more time to it. But for those of you, particularly in London, if you go to the Shoreditch area, Great Eastern Street, Sclater Street, you'll see street art from a Colombian named Stinkfish, and it's very good. And it's something to do on a nice day out. And and you'll see street art from other artists. You can compare it with that. And I really recommend it because it's really beautiful and colorful and vibrant, just like all that there is in Colombia.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Whitney. And well, it's like time flies, literally. I know that, well, 1 hour is like very quick. And well, of course, we would like to have more time. We prepared this show with all our love. And of course, well, don't miss the next show because, well, we're going to talk about Dominican Republic. So it's going to be a fantastic one. We're going to talk about a little bit of tourism and everything. So, well, don't miss it. And of course, well, I ask you again that, well, if you can share this video and also you can follow us in our social networks. You can find us on YouTube, and you can also subscribe and also put the bell that they have there in order that, well, you receive any notifications when we're posting something new. Also, you can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. It's very easy to find us. It's the Latin America Show. So thank you, everybody. And well, of course, well, hope to see you next week, 8 o'clock London time. This is the Latin America Show. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Nos vemos, panas.